Greetings and hello. Thank you so much for joining this broadcast today. I greet you today, not with much joy, but with the understanding that, as you see the topic is saying, Guyana is in trouble. Our country is in major crisis. And this broadcast is intended to help you to understand why Guyana is in trouble in so many regards. I appreciate your sharing this broadcast, and if you can see clearly and hear clearly, please let me know so that we can proceed. There is certainly cause to give redress to a painting that is done by an artist, I think his name is Courtney Douglas, who would have since issued the usual apology. I must say that in this instant, I do not believe that his intentions are, or the intention was generated out of hardcore racism. And I'll tell you why. And I repeat what I'm saying to you. I do not believe that the intention of the artist or the image of the artist was driven by hardcore racism. What it speaks to is what I've addressed on Friday last, which is systematic racism, which is even worse because it's difficult to determine what it really is or when it is. I will first of all present the image so that you can see exactly, most of you are familiar with it anyway, but you must be able to see what is before you and why I would have been as livid as other Guyanese of African descent would happen to be. And I'm grateful, I'm certainly grateful that even some Indo-Guyanese understand and have expressed their issue with this matter. So it's not just a black people thing, as you call it. There are Indo-Guyanese as well who are certainly upset about the imagery. And we should speak to that as well. So again, thank you, and I'll present the image to you so you can see what it is. This is the image. As you can see, it bears a portrait of the president, Irfaan Ali, holding, listen to me carefully, holding as a father his son. Look at his attire. Look at what he's presented as. Of course, the female beside him is his wife. Look at how she's presented. Then, there is an image which would have caused the outcry of three individuals of Afro-Guyanese descent. And these images have been generated from visitations that the First Lady, as she's called, would have had, I think, on Christmas Day. She visited the mothers, 11 mothers, and this artist would have chosen this one of African descent. Look at her attire. Look at how she's presented. Are you seeing that? Then there's a little child, a little Afro-Guyanese child with braided hair, who is holding a bag, again from a photograph, and she's obviously looking up to the First Lady, as you can see, with a bag in hand that's empty. Obviously, she has need of something in the bag. To some people, this is not a big deal. It is simply an artist rendering of what is his thoughts, what are his thoughts. So it's not an issue. It's a non-issue. Now, please retain that image, the painting in mind, while I speak to another matter and how persons of Caucasian descent dealt with it. With George Floyd, Tamir Rice, Martin, I'll speak to George Floyd being the most recent one, or the most popular one, among the most. Persons of Caucasian descent, quite a few of them, even on the news media said, why are you making this about race? Listen to me. When George Floyd was strangled to death by a Caucasian police officer, people of Caucasian descent, white people then, some of you don't know what Caucasian means, said, why are you black people making this about race? It is not about race. It's just a police officer doing something wrong. Do you understand? Can you relate the two? Okay. This artist, and it's on my page, this artist would have told people that they should not have such a big issue with his painting. Because why you all always making this about race? Of course, these are people of Afro-Guyanese descent who are saying to him, hey, what is wrong with you? Why are you presenting us in this manner? And he says, why you all have to make everything about race? I have the screenshot. It's on my page. It was the artist Courtney Douglas responding his Facebook page, from his page, to someone's expression of displeasure. I hope that my technical person can find that conversation. It's right there in the file. But he's saying, why you have to make everything about race? Okay. There's sometimes in my life when I'm always grateful, or most of it, all the time, for the path, the strategic journey that Yahweh has taken me on to get to 46 years old. Many times I never understood why I went through things, why I had certain experiences in my classes and so on. Those of you from Mackenzie High School would know that I was in the arts stream. At the New Amsterdam Multilateral School, where I was there for 3 years, we did art with a man named Mr. Wilson. Actually, in the magistrate court, it may be in New Amsterdam, right on Esplanade Road, there are pieces of sculpture done. And I, as a student, of course I'm old now, so I understand what happened, but Mr. Wilson had a contract to do these pieces for the magistrate court. And he would have used, not employed, but and I'm grateful he did it. He would have taught us as students, a few of the boys. We went to the art lab and we would do sculpture with Mr. Wilson. And this man, while he's doing these sculptures, would be teaching us the thought of the artist, who's Mr. Wilson, behind the project. I'm saying this for a reason so Mr. Douglas can get it. Probably he doesn't get it yet. When we were in the lab, the art lab, when I'm chiseling and making the chains, for example, and at some point, as simple as chain links, Mr. Wilson would have I remember that one, a broken chain link. Why would he break the chain link in the sculpture? To depict freedom. He'd have, of course, a scale, and the scale speaks to justice. The scale must not be uneven. The scale must be even. So you cannot have the scale in this sculpture tipping in the wrong direction. Why was my art teacher, Mr. Wilson, so meticulous? I remember Mr. Chinnapen, I don't know if he's alive or he's dead now, but Mr. Chinnapen from Mackenzie High School taught me art for a long time. But he, even in a high school environment, ensured that he spoke to us about expressing your thoughts when it comes to art. Mr. Douglas doesn't seem to get it yet. And there's no artist. There is no, even an abstract artist. There is no artist on the planet who can tell me that they did not have forethought before they put something on a canvas. You cannot do that. Because you're not an artist, you must be crazy then. Artists would normally conceptualize. They have an image in their mind that they want to portray. Once they get through that thought process, then they begin to put it on canvas. That's the normal process. I say to you again that when George Floyd's matter arose, when Trayvon Martin's matter arose, people were saying, do not make this about race. It is not about race. That's what they were saying here. In this case, the artist who generated that what you saw said, don't make this about race. So let's see what he said, because he was so sorry. Let's see what he said, if he's so sorry afterwards. And his name is Courtney Douglas. he can say, disclaim whether it was him or not. I hope that you can read it. Let's elevate for a bit, please. Some more. Okay. You are free to feel how you want to feel. This is the man who later apologized now. I'm so sorry. Listen to his initial statement before he issued any apology. Somebody's expressing a displeasure with his painting. Listen to what he said. You are free to feel how you want to feel. My message is not about race. Look beyond race. There are people out there who need help. Listen to this. Who needs the help in that photograph, that painting he did? The black people. And a little black girl with an empty bag. She needs the help. The mother in the hospital, she needs the help. Because that's what he's saying what the painting is about. There are people out there who need help. What are you should be doing to make your people feel and think better of themselves? It should be black people. This is the man who's now so sorry. I hope you can read this, but I'll read it for you. His name is Coach Douglas. Before he issued an apology, he responded to somebody who's speaking to him. I think it's Adi Zuckerberg. And he said, you're free to feel how you want to feel. Okay. Okay, Guyanese. So people who are defending his actions, you could tell me how sorry somebody is if the initial response to someone's hurt is, you're free to feel how you want to feel about this image. But the image he's saying now is showing someone or an environment in which somebody needs help. My question to you Guyanese is, who needs it according to the picture? According to the painting, who needs the help? Please type it for me. Who needs the help? Does that sound to you as though he was sorry for what he did when he offended somebody? Or he's now sorry because of the expanse of the reaction he got, or the extent to it of it? I'm asking you, if you can hear me clearly, please type it so I can know that Facebook Live is streaming properly. Who, according to his imagery, needs help in that picture? Because I'm certain some of y'all are commenting and I'm not seeing it for some reason. Is Facebook okay? Okay. The last thing I'm seeing is two people. I'm not going to see the comments properly. Who needs the help? Because I don't want to speak ahead of what you're saying. Bring a device and read from it, please. Trying to see what you're all saying. It's now here. See, there you are. Okay, good, okay. I'm not seeing anything of that nature on my screen. Okay, I'm going to see it now. Right. Do you see who needs it? So those of you commenting here, you can clearly understand that the artist himself said that the painting is about people needing help. Who needs it? Okay, good. So you've answered correctly so far. Next question. Irfan Ali in the painting, the first one. Irfan Ali is presented as a man in a European jacket with a tie, holding his son, appearing to be quite affluent in his nature. Look at how the first family, as they call, is presented before you. Because the artist said people need help now. So this family that you're seeing here, the president, Irfan Ali, look at how he's dressed. Look at his son in the arm of his father. Look at the mother. The artist said that people need help. You can elevate it, let me see. Let them see who needs help. Up a little more. Look at the Afro-Guyanese in the painting. Who need his thought process in painting these images. Listen, people need help. Okay. Now I could end this I could conclude this broadcast at this very moment because there's nothing else for me to say to you. If you cannot grasp the severity of the imagery here, or the message in the imagery. And some of you said, tone it down. I see him coming to broadcast. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal because he didn't intend to hurt people. So there's now something in this generation I realize that I have to always address with you all. This generation is functioning by a principle in which if you don't intend to do it, it is not harmful. That's all your reason. So if I look at you and I say to you that you are a thief and a dog, in your head, or in my head, according to this generation here, if I do not intend to disrespect you, then you shouldn't say you've disrespected, because I didn't intend to do it. That is this generation we're in, where if they do not intend to do something, it's not such a big deal. So who determines the extent to which I should be offended by somebody saying to me, in reference to my ethnicity, this is the imagery that I have of you in my head. You are the one in need of help. Irfan Ali's son is in the hand of his father because, according to this image here, the boy doesn't need help. The little black girl needs help because she doesn't have a father. You don't see this as an issue. Let me tell you all something. Let me make this clear to all of you. You should know me by now. I don't deal with racism. I don't tolerate racism. I don't tolerate racism even if it's systematic. Even if it is implied or implicit. I don't play with that. And yet again, preachers in Guyana, especially Afro-Guyanese preachers, you can't talk to this either. What bothers you all? You don't understand why I am so livid with you people. What upsets you? What? How much more disrespect must your people face for you to talk? So since you're in church, I'll talk to you about church then. I'll talk to you church fun. You church jokers who can't talk in Guyana. You preachers. There's an image if you Google it now. If you Google now, Jesus, that you all say is an English name. Fine, English means European or from Europe. That's a part of Europe. England is a part of Europe. You say Jesus is an English name, which means it came from Europe. Thank you. Good. If you Google at this very instant the word Jesus and check the image or the images of Jesus, you will see 100% white. Why? It's not a big deal to some of you stupid preachers. It's not an issue for you. You cannot even wrap your mind around the fact that the image of your Savior is white. Why? Because it's not a big deal. Why you make a big deal out of that? Why? Do you understand? Do you understand that the innocent artist painted an image of Caesarea Borgia, an effeminate in the first place? Who is European? Who is white? And the concept is that white people would save you. Oh, you don't see that as an issue, huh? You do not see it as a problem. Go to Africa. Go to the continent of Africa, what they call Africa now, and see what the Europeans have done to it. And you'll understand. Do you recognize that whenever there's a crisis in this world, okay, Guyana, I'm talking to you Guyanese people, I'm speaking to you. When we had an electoral crisis in Guyana, from March through August, when we had an electoral crisis, who, and don't lie to me here, who was the most dominant ethnicity trying to control your internal affairs? Who was in the forefront saying, I will sanction you all? Get it together. Who was doing it? Is Sarah Lynch Afro in her ethnicity? Is Mike Pompeo African in his ethnicity? It is ingrained in these people that they have to control you and bring you into order. But you don't see that as an issue. Internally, the Indo-Guyanese were saying, fix it, or this country would not be governed. And you don't see it as a problem. And now, just a few months thereafter, is an image portrayed by an African, of an African group who have no father, need help, and an Indo-Guyanese president holding his son in his arms with his wonderful wife beside him, all well-dressed. Now, why couldn't you, the artist, if you want to promote unity, why could you not present to us an image of an affluent Guyanese man, dressed like me, shaking the hand of a president? Why can't you do that? Why can't you present an image of my family, who is totally nuclear? They're with their father. My children know their father. They're constant in my life. Why can't you present something like, why can't you present something of, I don't like Granger, you know that. But why can't you present him and his children shaking the hand of Ali? That's unity for me. No. If you present an image that black people have no father and need help, that is not unity. That is disrespect. And the minute you seek to make light of this situation, we have an issue. The moment you begin to make it appear as if this should not be a problem, you are a problem. Why? If you Google the image, Google image, try to find the image of God, you will see a white man in the cloud pointing down on the earth. Why? Why is it not an Afro-centric person, an African man, Negroid, in the cloud pointing down on earth? Why? Find it for yourself. When you Google the image of God, you'll see a white man in the clouds with light all around him pointing down to the earth. Why? And I must not take issues. This is not because I'm Afro-Guyanese. This is because I'm a person who understands the destructive nature of racism. Now, I say to you, it may sound crazy. I've said to you that I do not believe his intention or his general nature is to be blatantly racist. That was not what I got from what he's doing. No. Which makes it an even greater issue. Because he expressed in his painting from his mind what the image of those who need help is. That he cannot deny. And none of you can deny it. Because if he wanted to speak to people who need help without being biased, put Afro-Guyanese helping Afro-Guyanese. Or why didn't you put a rich businessman like the one who owns Burger King and those places, the franchise? I can't remember his name, and Pizza Hut and so on. Why didn't you put him helping a poor Indo-Guyanese person in the corner road? Could you paint that? Would you have painted that? Would you have taken the risk to paint an imagery by an Afro-Guyanese who's wealthy helping a poor Indo-Guyanese? Do you want to do that? Would that be, or would that have been acceptable across the board to say, hey, listen, we have an imagery by there's a little Indian boy with no father, there's an Afro-Guyanese family, well structured, helping here. Guyana is not about commissioning here. I don't care whether the first family commissioned it. That's not my issue. My issue is the artist's presentation of something that is totally offensive to Afro-Guyanese, and the ERC is quiet, as usual. I will, at some point, address some of you, but not extensively, because you're not going to cause me to focus on your degree of stupidity for too long. Somebody's asking, why don't I address the London, this is Suraj Knott. Please address the issue why black women been left single parent. My wife is not a single parent. My mother is not a single parent. And how many Indian women are not single parents? That's exactly my problem with y'all. I have been raised, and many Afro-Guyanese have been raised in very, very stable environments. I know of many instances of persons, and it's known because it's spoken of repeatedly in society, where the general nature of Indo-Guyanese is drink, lick, and beat their wives. Is that okay? The general concept of black men is you have a lot of women. Is that okay? My question to you is, what makes my ethnicity the determining factor in my conduct? That's my problem with y'all. Whereby you're going to label a group of people, this is what you are. Once you begin to stereotype like that, you are going to upset me. You are not in any way. You're not going to escape on this broadcast here with seeking to tag a group of people, and that's exactly the issue with the artist, and you're just making my point. You are not going to tag Indo-Guyanese as one group, one behavior, Afro-Guyanese as this behavior. That is entirely disrespectful to both of them. Thank you, Errol. Thank you, my brother. The artist's intention was to capture the perceived persuasive paradigm regarding black families. In other words, to break it down for you, he's saying that the artist wants to present how people's minds are towards black families. Look what Sojourner just asked, because it's exactly how you think. Now, I would like to suggest to you that this artist's imagery was not derived from just some fleeting thought. The climate in this country at this moment, if somebody didn't realize it, is extremely tense. It's volatile. Because you hear repeatedly, and Douglas doesn't live on Mars, you hear repeatedly persons of Afro-Guyanese descent saying, look at how much you fired us. Look at how you're sending us home. I spoke to it already. Why is it that public servants who are generally of Afro-Guyanese descent, because we're not generally in business, why are they being sent home in such large numbers? I'm not speaking to your political appointees here. Why are you sending them home in such large numbers, and then your suggestion is that they're not qualified, when most of us attend university because that's our way out, as you call it? And I asked you before, who's qualified then? If the public servants who are generally Afro-Guyanese are not qualified, based on your statement, my question to you politicians from the PPP is, who is qualified? Because I'm not that stupid, I can reason what you're saying to me. If you're saying these people being sent home, the overwhelming majority are Afro-Guyanese because they're not qualified for the job, my question to you then is, who is qualified? So I'll read for you his apology. Because after he said, you're free to think what you want to think, which in itself doesn't speak to him being sorry. There's no remorse in that. There's no penitence in it. And some of you are too stupid to understand what he's doing to you. He isn't sorry. Like Guyanese critic. Black people can't read, and he make a mockery of us. If you want to hide something from a black man, put it in the book. And he laughed. When he saw black man paper, they said, oh, oh. And Guyanese critic had a ball. When he went before the ERC, I didn't intend to hurt anybody. That was not my intention. And that's supposed to just fly by and be accepted. What was your initial response to the rage? You said people are free to think what they want to think. Pictures. I want to read his apology for you. You're free to see his apology. After he said people are free to think what they want to think. Come down for me, please. I don't know if you can see it. My intentions, and I'm reading the Courtney Douglas's apology here, after the whole fiasco. My intentions in doing art, I'm reading what he said about his intention now, is to make people feel good about themselves. And I'll dissect it for you. Listen to what he's saying. My intentions in doing art are to make people feel good about themselves. Thank you. We'll come back to it in a minute. Don't go too far. Okay. Now, some of you who know me and close to me don't understand. I tell people when I laugh, I'm trying my best here to restrain the degree of anger that I feel and to control the expression of it so you can hear me, because when I get very upset I begin to stutter. This artist, this is his apology here. And in him seeking to rectify or remedy a situation, the first line he presents is, my intention is to make people feel good about themselves. Okay. So when you present 2 or 3 Afro-Ghanis, a mother with a child in hand and a little baby girl and another girl, a toddler, the intention is to make people feel good about themselves. If an Ali has a son in his hand with his wife beside him, nuclear family, well put together. The Afro-Ghanese lady has no man because she's holding the baby by herself. There's no father holding the child here. And you, in painting this image, don't worry about us getting upset yet. In that painting, in your head, this is going to make people feel good about themselves. Who? Who are the people that feel good about themselves when you finish painting this painting? Whereby the Afro-Ghanese woman is getting help, and the child with an empty bag is in need of help. So who is feeling good about themselves when you finish? Let's reason here now. Let us reason here, please. The father, Irfan Ali, is holding the son, and the mother is right nearby. I think they'll feel good about themselves. Look at how they're dressed. I said, like me, he's attired, so he's well dressed. Of course, you know, he's the president and so on. So he's feel good about himself. You're saying to me that an Afro-Ghanese lady sitting on a bed with no man, no father to hold her child in the picture, in the painting, and a little girl with an empty bag before the first lady getting help would feel good about themselves. So you're saying to me that an expression of want on our part makes us feel good about ourselves? Because that's what you said. But then you said in this instant you did not receive or have that need properly expressed. Let me show you the other part of the apology. Based on previous paintings, that was always his thought, for people to feel good about themselves. I clearly did not achieve that. Based on previous painting, I clearly did not achieve that. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to apologize to all whom I may have offended, especially my African brothers and sisters, for whom I have the greatest of respect. I preach love and unity, said Douglas. I preach love and unity. And my intention is never to degrade anyone. Again, this new word in this generation, intention. My intention is not to degrade anyone. Okay, this is the other line now. The idea, now he's saying what he thought about. The idea was to do a portrait of the first family, showing love and support. For whom? So he's now telling you exactly what he was thinking when he painted the picture. But my message got lost. And for this, I'm truly sorry. Your message got lost, my message was well received. So let's see the last line now. The second to last sentence. I'll make sure next time my concepts are thought out properly before executing them. he'll ensure that the next time his concepts are thought out properly. So now, Douglas, you're putting yourself in another hole here. Because what you're saying is that without, good to see you, Pastor Josh, without careful thought, your first expression of this situation here is a nuclear family that is well put together, well constructed. The father is holding a son. But on the other side of the spectrum is an Afro-Guyanese lady with no father for her child in the picture. And a little girl with no father because she has a bag seeking help. And you are saying that you are sorry, but your idea was to present the first family showing help. Help to whom? Now, I find it concerning that I would have cause to come to do a live broadcast, because when I did a post on it, some of you didn't get it. So probably you will understand now why there is such a degree of anger from so many of us. Now you would want to say to me that the man is not in any way expressing anything that should offend Afro-Guyanese people, because after all, he just took a few photographs of the First Lady's work in the community and her work therein, and he's presenting it to us. It's not a big deal. He's simply layering it whereby the two images are put there. Okay. Right, Brother Elton. But he's so sorry. Yet before this apology, he said, you are free to think what you want to think. Can you please find the slide again for me? I can show you. I want y'all to see what happened before you apologize. What his thoughts were. And let us see how sorry he is. Actually, I tell you all the time, when people say to me, I am sorry, I see them in two pictures. Either you are regretting what you've done, or you are describing yourself as being sorry. So one is an expression of remorse and the other is a description of oneself. You could determine what it is. Look at what Courtney Douglas said before you apologize. You are free to feel how you want to feel. My message is not about race. Look beyond race. Okay. What are your people doing? What are you doing to make your people feel and think better about themselves? Because he's expressing where people need help. And this is the same person come back and say he's so sorry? No. You are sorry about the reaction that you received. You're not sorry about your actions. What upsets me to this extent? I've said to you before that as a 10-year-old boy, or maybe younger than that, in my country, in New Amsterdam, Berbice, during the election period, that's just before 1980 something, as a little boy in this country, I was walking home from school. If you do not know, I lived, if you're in Berbice, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I lived in the Burman compound on Esplanade Road. We were considered to be among the more affluent people in society. My father was one of the managers at the bauxite company when it was really worth its salt. And so these men didn't know who I was. But all they saw, 5 or 6 or whatever number they were, I can't remember the exact number, of these Indian men, all they saw was a little black boy who was below them. And as a little child walking home from school, adult males looked at me and said to one another, let's kill this little black man. I lived that. Now, as a boy in New Amsterdam, my rage and my displeasure for racism existed since then. I got so angry because I hate even the thought of racists being around me. Fortunately or unfortunately for them, right by beside school, there was a pile of rocks by that triangle you have in the road. I went there, I picked up some rocks, big ones, and started pelting these men. I know they were shocked, because when I hit the first two, they realized that this little one here, we just can't kill him like that. And they started running up the road, and I was behind them. I didn't run home. I was chasing after them. That's how enraged I was at racism. I had every intention of killing them that day, because they said that they're going to kill me. Listen to their words. In Guyana, let us kill this little black man. That's what they said to me. Get lost, Suraj, because you told me about black women having no baby father. Don't come to me with anything but no different thought here. I was crying and I was pelting. What made me so upset? The fact that in my own country, people could look at me and say, let's kill this little black man. So if I have had that experience, you can't tell me that you could paint some image like this and think it's okay with me. And then say to me, I could feel how I want to feel. Are you crazy? I am free to feel how I want to feel. Well, I feel offended. If you say to someone they're free to feel how they want to feel, you should never apologize, because you give me the freedom to feel how I want to feel. This is grossly disrespectful. There's no way that you can worm your way out of this. And I conclude by saying to you that something had to have generated within Douglas the concept, as my brother Errol London said, of how the Afro-Guyanese will be presented in this picture. If you're saying you want to promote unity, is that how you show unity? Where you said, Douglas, that one set of people have a need, and the first family is meeting that need, that's how you show unity here? The issue is not between the affluent Indian people in this country and the poor Afro-Guyanese people. I thought we had a political issue first of all. I thought that there's a political issue in Guyana, and on the back of that political issue is a race issue, because you politicians facilitated to be elected. That's a fact. That's BBC News, all I'm talking about, y'all. That Guyana is a racially divided country, and the politicians, the two parties are known for one being Afro-Guyanese, one being Indo-Guyanese, because that's how you sell yourselves. Let me conclude by seeking to hopefully, which I know will not happen, help those of you who are yet to understand the gravity of the situation. If you are in a society where you understand that racism is a problem, you have to always be very cautious when you present anything, especially as an artist, of that nature. You must be cautious. You have to always be mindful. Did I not say to the PPP Civic when they got into office, by whatever means they got there, that you must be careful, Irfan Ali, be careful, Bharat Jagdeo, as to how you present your actions towards Guyanese people? Because if the only persons, and you did it because you don't listen, the only persons you are sending home on such large scale would be Afro-Guyanese. Then on the flip side, you're reopening the sugar estates, pumping thus far $9+ billion into it, because the main employees there are Indo-Guyanese. If you sell the thought, or you sell the notion that one group of people should go home and be unemployed, and another group of people in a failing industry must be employed, you are selling racism. I told you, the worst thing to do is to make people perceive that you're racist, because thereafter you cannot convince them that you're not. If the only people that you can find to bring before the court for electoral fraud, I said to you before, are Afro-Guyanese people, you have a problem. because there are 49 returning officers who are yet to answer for what happened in the ballot boxes. But you could grab 6 or 7 or 5 Afro-Guyanese and put them before the court. So there's a climate of racism in this country that cannot be quelled, or the storm cannot be quelled or calmed by a painting of this nature. I am not accepting Douglas's apology because he's not sorry for anything, but the fact that he got a reaction that really made him think that, hey, people may not like me anymore. If you tell me I'm free to think how I want to think, don't tell me that you're sorry afterwards. That is a cop-out. I will show you his corrected image or painting. The last one. Let us see how Mr. Douglas corrected his wrong after he said he's sorry. He's so sorry. So now he's going to fix the image. Here is the corrected rendition. His idea was that he's going to show the first family helping people. So what did he do? Because Afro-Guyanese have a problem, you now see 1, 2, I think it's heliconias in terms of flowers here. Look at the bottom. The woman is gone, the little girl is gone, and you have 2 flowers there now, with the first family standing before you. And Mr. Douglas believes that this is going to just calm the society because after all, he's removed the black people from the image. Okay, Mr. Douglas, the fact that you painted over, you overlaid the Afro-Guyanese people from the image, tells me then that you understand who you really upset. If you corrected the picture, why didn't you remove Irfan Ali's son from his hand? Or why did you remove Irfan Ali and leave his son standing by himself? So everybody has no father now. Why didn't you fix the image by showing that Irfan Ali's wife is alone, Irfan Ali's son is alone, and he has no daddy? Your eyes pass people, that's what I'm to you. And you're trying to correct something, but your mind is not there to correct it because you don't have any pure thought in the process. You just want to avoid being of course, given a few verbal lashes here. That's what you want. Your effort to give redress to it is very stupid because you decided now, let me take the black people out of the image and put 2 flowers. And that solved the problem. No, it doesn't solve the problem. It highlights that you know exactly what the problem is. You want to correct the problem? Why don't you, instead of putting 2 flowers, paint a wealthy Afro-Guyanese looking at Irfan Ali with his son in his hand too, with his wife beside him too, and his business behind him? Why didn't you do that? No. Your correction is to take black people out of the picture altogether, your stupid self. This is how you solve a problem? Listen to me. Any one of you who present anything with racial or racist undertones, I don't want any apology from you all. I do not want to have any apology from you because apologies seem to be, as Apostle Joshua said, the norm for y'all nowadays. You do stupidness and tell people I'm sorry, and that's supposed to solve the problem? How does that solve the problem? Paint a picture of Afro-Guyanese who are on the same level. Paint that. And if it were an Afro-Guyanese doing it, I'd be just upset because you all know me. I don't play with racism, I'm telling you that. I hate racists, whether you're black, you're white, you're Chinese, you're Amerindian, whatever. I hate you if you're racist. I cannot stand you. You are sick. And I shall certainly take note of those of you in the upper echelon of society who think that this is okay. I'll take certain note of you all. Because you people believe that you can do just about anything. And then you rush after massive backlash to furnish some stupid apology that really doesn't make sense. You didn't intend to do it? Have you forgotten that Suki or Suki, whatever her name is, didn't intend to call me a black dog and a hungry belly dog? You forgot that? Because her daughter is black? So your daughter is black, but you can call me a black dog? And call us hungry belly dogs? And who burned down house and going to burn down. That woman had the nerve to say, I'm sorry, I didn't intend to hurt anybody. And Guyana must accept it. I say again, the Guyanese critic said we can't read, and he's sorry he said that afterwards. But we must accept the apology from you. The young University of Guyana student who sat and put $20 on the ground, $20 in this era, and say he know that only a black man will pick that. Could he wouldn't do that? When he brought him before the ERC, oh, he's sorry. And as after I call you all out for your hypocrisy because Cassidy had to apologize for circling Jandi flags, which are Hindi or Hindu in their nature, not ethnically depictive of anybody, depicting of anyone. It simply shows a religion because they're African Hindus. But no, the Indus and Indo-Guyanese, oh no, you're offending us. And poor Kester, because he's apparently unlearned, he doesn't understand that there are African Hindus in the world. He issued an apology. Then I said to John Smith, if you're going to make Cassidy apologize, you better have that one apologize too, because I'm not playing with this. Thereafter, the young man came and he issued an apology because he, of course, is not racist. I'm not racist. Now this one, who told Addie that she could feel how she wants to feel, is now sorry. I'm not accepting an apology. Because if you were sorry, your painting would have been in the Demerara River, or it would have been burnt. You would have discarded it, or you would have corrected the imagery by putting African Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese on the same level. Now I hope that what I've said to you makes it a bit clearer. I will not even ask the Ethnic Relations Commission to make a comment on this, because you don't have sense to do it. You don't have the guts to do it. Your fortitude intestinally is absolutely missing. You all are wimps. But I promise you, if I, in this broadcast, would have said anything that incited racial violence, John Smith would call me to the Ethnic Relations Commission because he can't wait for the moment to do it. I'm saying to invite me, so I can tell you what I think about you. The issue in Guyana will never be resolved by apologies. It shall be resolved by action taken, as Apostle Joshua rightly says, that are legal. You cannot correct racism by being nice to people, because racists are not nice in their mentality. The fact you could look at another race, if you're Afro-Guyanese, you look at Indian people and say Indian people are Kuridag, whatever it is you all would say, you're supposed to be in jail. There's no handshake between you. If you are Afro-Guyanese and you're going to spew such stupid, ignorant, nonsensical garbage about your fellow Guyanese, you should be in prison. There's no handshake here, and I'm sorry. If you are Indo-Guyanese and you call people black dog, you should be in jail. I don't want to shake your hand because your mind already is poisoned. So there's no handshake that could solve you, that could solve your problem. There's no I'm sorry that could solve your problem. There's no paying $100,000 that could solve your problem. The only thing that fix some of y'all is jail. Strip you of your freedom. Take your house away. If you live in an Indo-Guyanese community that's predominantly Indo-Guyanese, they put you to live in the heart of an African Guyanese community. So you can learn how to live with people. If you're Afro-Guyanese, you want to be mean, they should put you in the middle of an Indo-Guyanese community and say, live here for 2 years. Let me see if you'll die. I am intolerant of racism. I am saying to you again that I hate racists. Now, I'm not saying I dislike racists to sound pretty. I hate you. If you're racist, I hate you. You are sick and you're stupid. I don't like you. Whether you look like me, Afro-Guyanese, you are a stupid Afro-Guyanese if you're racist. I don't like you all. Which may be why I don't like politicians in general. I'm therefore thankful that it appears as though most of you in this broadcast have understood my message, and you understand why I have an issue with Mr. Douglas and why I shall continue to have an issue with Mr. Douglas's ilk. Those of his kind, I don't play with y'all. Keep your stupid apology. I remain offended. Now, what you may need to do is to be subjected to sitting in a classroom at the Baroque School of Art, so they can tell you if you haven't been. Apparently, you were there, but they could put you back in the class and let your art lecturers tell you, or at University of Guyana, and let you sit in a room and let them teach you the power of imagery and why you must be careful and cautious, because you in your apology said that the next time you think it through a little harder. Right. Ricky Singh, we could live as one. I could live as one with anybody. I could never live as one with a racist. That's why they need to live away from people. Racists are like wild animals. You should build an island for you all and drop you all right there. Feed yourself. Any right-thinking Guyanese can get along with anybody else. But if I perceive that your actions have an undertone or an overtone of racism, I don't want to get along with you. That includes you preachers. You Afro-Guyanese preachers too, who at elections have all these implicit statements that you make. I have an issue with you. I would appreciate, thank you so much, Favor, if you can share this message. Let it get to those who need to hear it. And let them come to me, tell me that I shouldn't say what I've said. Especially the ERC. Thank you. Thank you so much. I honestly appreciate the fact that you were here, and I more than ever appreciate the fact that most of you get it. I'm not calling for some Afro-Guyanese uprising here. It doesn't help us. There's no unity when there's us and them. I deal with people based on their nature. If your nature is racist, I want nothing to do with you. Thank you again. If you're a saint, I bid you shalom. If you're offended, good. But I thank you. Goodbye.